Welcome back, everybody. Fast Abdul is here. Fast Abdul with the ink printer protocol. Fast Abdul.
Yeah.
Is the bull market over? Tell us.
I am not an oracle. I can't predict that, but I feel like the bull market is not over. I think we're in a somewhat of a well-deserved dip. Bitcoin went up too high, too fast, and now we're resetting for the next leg. That's just my opinion.
It's my opinion too. I think we have to repent for our sins of money printing, not our sins, but Jay Powell. Interest rates are still 5%. People focus too much on the micro, and when you zoom out, Ethereum still wrecked, ETH BTC all-time low. Bitcoin only pumped on institutional money. There's no new Bitcoin actual users. There's people that downloaded Coinbase and bought Bitcoin, but no one's actually like marketing it to the people, for the people, self-sovereignty anymore. So that goose is cooked. It's kind of sad, a lot of people are selling out to institutions. Like I say, that's the only people left to pump the big bags like Bitcoin and ETH, because apparently the ETH Foundation is more aligned with World Economic Forum and soy milk. Big soy got to them, and people don't want to talk about numbers go up.
Yep. Yeah. Vitalik is, he's not really an awesome front man for that kind of stuff. He should just hire someone. I'll submit my resume
to the Ethereum Foundation, but they're not doing much either.
What their purview is, what they're supposed to accomplish is not clear to me. Their main function seems to be selling Ethereum. They need a better founder like Richard Hart, whose purpose could be to pump his own chain. Seems like a reasonable purpose for a founder.
That's kind of what I bought into. I mean, yes, we all are the network. We're not just sitting around praying for Richard to pump our bags, but the people that are in the know in PulseChain understand that Richard actually cares about his product, where I can see new people coming in and they just assume, oh, the founder abandoned or he's in jail. But like, you actually look under the hood and all that stuff is just false. Like, it couldn't be more wrong. I can only imagine how frustrated he must be, Richard Hart, not being able to legally say anything right now and crush all the haters, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is the case too. The reason we're not hearing from RH is because his lawyers are like, no, man, you can't stream, right? So, once that restriction's lifted, which I suspect strongly will be when the SEC drops the case, like, it's going to be so different. I don't think people understand.
It's going to be how it used to be. I mean, up until about 2023, right? He was streaming up until about 2 years ago, and we might see the culmination of all these cases pretty soon. We saw Coinbase, OpenSea, Robinhood, Uniswap, Gemini, Consensus. That's 6 in a row, 6 days, 6 cases from the SEC dismissed. Everyone's probably sitting around wondering, when is PulseChain going to be next? What do you think about that?
I heard a rumor that I haven't confirmed, that they were getting dismissed in order of when the case was initiated. I'm sure.
I wonder if that holds up. Did you verify?
I did not verify at all. I'm burning the midnight oil here most days, so I haven't.
You don't have anything better.
I got a couple things going on, 1 or 2 things that I'm in charge of. But
for people that don't know you, I mean, you were behind, had a big part in Fux, PHUX, a whole bunch of good liquidity pools for the ecosystem. What is it? Flex Protocol, Earn Protocol, Power City, and now INC Protocol. Just tell people your resume here.
Well, I think you give me a little too much credit with some of those. So let's start with Fux. So I'm not part of the Fux team. My team is 2 Fux, myself and Yellowcake, and we built.
That's what I meant.
That's cool. We built on top of the Fux exchange. So that was the fork of Balancer. We did basically the fork of Convex to work on top of it, which is going pretty good. We have a lot of users, and we have probably the best APRs most days on PulseChain for liquidity farming. I've been an admin in many chat rooms with PulseChain communities. So like Internet Money, Power City. I was never actually part of any of those teams, but I was around. So people felt like I was, because I was answering the questions, right? So and now we're moving on to ink printer. So we're going to do our own liquidity fork, much like Power City did and like Liquid Loans did, except for use ink as collateral instead of PulseX or PulseX.
Well, I'm glad your sanity is still intact after being a Telegram admin. Those guys, that's a short lifespan of a job. That's a tough gig.
Yeah, and it's typically almost always, especially on the Pulse chain, like nobody's getting paid to do that. So yeah, those guys are they are a gift to the community, and I have some great ones in all my Telegram rooms that I really appreciate. They add ideas, they keep the scammers out, which is a huge part of the job. I found that you have to incorporate humor or you can't stay sane, right? Straight up.
That's been a coping mechanism for me as well. I shout out to all the Telegram mods out there, the admins, Discord mods, whatever. Nenad rings a bell from Hex Pro days. I mean, there's a reason some of these guys are dicks. It's because they're dealing with retards all day, every day.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
A little sense of humor will get you by, huh?
Yeah, and there's obviously like there's great community members. You get to be a part of something, and you get to it's a good place to learn, right? So, and for me, like being involved with those communities in particular, like Internet Money and Power City, it's like it's a mark of respect that like, okay, those guys trusted me enough to let me do that. Like that's good.
Yeah.
Right. So that was, those were kind of the stepping stones to building on the Pulse chain. Was I didn't even know what Telegram was before I started looking at Pulse chain stuff, right? Like back in my pleb days, 2-3 years ago. It was all new, and that's meeting the founders of these different protocols, like Power City, the Internet Money Wallet, KG, like that's what inspired me to build on the Pulse chain.
Cool. Yeah, I mean there are a lot of great people building, and I know it's a thankless job, so I'll say thank you for dealing with getting all the nonsense out of there. It's hard to foster a legitimate good community, but you're not going to see anything else like the Pulse chain community and all the sub communities.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we have the best cult around and sub cults like around. Like there's to build something on another chain, like clearly there's chains that are doing better than us this cycle so far, but like there's where would you go to gather the people? Like show me who's the biggest Polygon influencer out there. Like I don't think there is one, right? Whereas Pulse chain, we have like 170 plus to choose from. So if you need a platform and you're building something cool, Pulse chain just is the best place.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's why I'm still here.
Yep.
But so you're building an ink printer, basically a stablecoin backed by ink. Why do you think it's a good idea to make a stablecoin backed by this token?
Good questions. As far as liquidity forks on the Pulse chain go, like we have 3 that are notable right now, right? So Liquid Loans came out first. So they use Pulse as the backing collateral, which is a good choice. Then the Earn protocol by Power City, which used PulseX as the collateral, which is another good choice. So these are things that have reasonably high liquidity, relatively stable prices. And then we moved on to the Power City did the Flex protocol that uses Hex as collateral. So a little bit less liquid than the other 2, but still like a relatively stable price, and it seems to be working out fairly well. Ink was not necessarily the best choice in the past, but the situation has changed recently with the inflation and ink being reduced to almost nothing. All right. Richard Hart's turned down the inflation, I believe, 4 times now. Now it's 0.03 ink per second, which is like a crazy decrease rather. So with ink having much less inflation, I feel like the price is much more likely to go up, and people are going to look at it different, not just as a dump token. And there's likely to be, just a more stable or perhaps, up only time for the ink token where it would do well as collateral for a stablecoin.
So due to the inflation rate, you think it's a good time?
That's part of it. I also feel like, the ink token could have future utility on the Pulse chain. I've examined that, like the code and what it's made for. And like it is effectively made to be a DAO token, very specifically. Like in the code, this is the code for something that it could be the DAO for Pulse chain or the DAO for PulseX. And it's pretty much ready to go to be that at any point in time. When Richard decides that's what's going to happen. And it's written right in the code that like this token, at a certain point, the inflation will be reduced and it could be used as a governance token for the community. I ran the code through AI the other day to see what it said. And it specifically said, like, this is a governance token, right? It's used to for decentralized voting in a DAO ecosystem. Right? That's what AI said the Ink token was.
Yeah, and I think we can confirm, seeing in the test net how PulseX had a voting area that was fully built out, forked from the MasterChef and all the V2 Uniswap forks.
Mm-hmm.
We've also seen specifically that commented out in the code section, which you're referring to, says something along the lines of, when ink is sufficiently distributed, this could serve an actual function. Everyone's speculating, but I have a bag for partially for that reason.
Yeah.
And partially because it's, who knows what else Richard might have planned for it, if it's another sacrifice or what have you.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, look, so for people that don't know, all of these protocols, Flex, Earn, Liquid Loans, Ink Printer, they're stable coins backed by these assets. So if I over collateralize a vault with, let's say, like 1 billion PLS, I can extract, a couple thousand USDL stablecoin backed by that PLS. It has to be very safely over collateralized. And it's the same concept with just different tokens as collateral: Ink, PulseX, Hex.
That's right.
My main problem or disappointment so far is, like, I wish more people were using these things, because they're only as useful as they are used. Obviously, like, we have independent stablecoins that don't need a middleman, that don't have the bridge risk, that don't have the counterparty risk of Circle or Tether.
Yep.
And if more people were using USDL or HexDC, we'd be potentially more free from these other risks. So is it just a matter of time, or utility season needs to come back, or how do we get more people on this stuff?
I think what we're going to see with these protocols is that they came out relatively early in the cycle, especially Liquid Loans obviously being the first one, and that any liquidity fork, I believe, will do quite well in the bull part of the market. So during like an up only period, I think there should be a strong adoption of the already existing liquidity forks. And I feel like Ink Printer is coming out at just the right time. And that's not financial advice. I don't know what's going to happen, but the Ink token is still pretty cheap, and if it's in a period where it's going to keep going up and up and up, that will be a pretty good time for a protocol like this to give you leverage on your Ink position. And we'll have a larger adoption of all of these on-chain stablecoins. And the no bridge risk thing is a big deal. Like, we need that on the Pulse chain, right? And if USDC or DAI isn't going to come launch natively on the Pulse chain, we need to do it ourselves. It's important to have native stablecoins.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that we were laying all the groundwork. I just looked at the number of vaults and Liquid Loans the other day, and I was disappointed by how low it has gotten. I mean, there's still hundreds and hundreds of vaults, but
totally, it's still they're all definitively working, in my opinion. And like, the price of those stable coins here, I keep them handy on my computer here. Like, they'll dip a little bit, but like right now at this second, okay, PXDC, the PulseX one, that's the lowest. It's 97.5 cents, which is probably an opportunity for somebody to snap that up. But HexDC is 99 cents and change, and USDL is 99 cents and change, and they typically hover very close to $1, like a penny below, a penny above. That liquidity code just works. It's been tried many times on many chains.
Even with the volatility, right? So, not on the Ethereum side, it withstood an 85% ETH dip, and now it's also withstood 80% dips in Pulse and PulseX and such. Another side of the equation is that when it does come time for you guys to sell, if you want to offload your crypto into stable coins without hurting the price, this is a way to do it as well, a more advanced way. You could take out a very thinly collateralized loan and just default on it, and you get to keep the stable coins, but somebody redeems and buys your collateral off of you for a discount.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's a good point. Like, when you take a loan from these protocols, an Ink Printer will be much the same. If the price drops of the underlying collateral and you get liquidated, any of the stable coins you've withdrawn already, like, you don't have to pay them back. Like, Fast Abdul is not going to knock on your door and say, where's my $10,000? Like, you get to keep it. So it can be used as a stop loss for advanced traders. It can be used as an exit mechanism for whales. There's lots of different plays, right? So these are pretty serious tools that can be put into lots of different DeFi strategies. because they do have those functions of giving you leverage on these Richard Heart tokens, as well as, like a safe place to be, because you can be partially in stables, but still have it, that's still path to your wallet. So if the price of the underlying asset goes up, you can still buy it back, right? So if you put in $10,000 worth of ink and take out $5,000, the price of ink doubles. Well, you now have $20,000 worth of ink that you can get back just by paying back your $5,000. Or you can take another $5,000 out and maintain the same collateral ratio. And you can go on and on with that plan all the way to the top of the bull market.
Yeah. As much as I wish everybody was using the DeFi perfect utopia world,
Indeed.
Clearly the market right now wants pictures of dogs and little meme coins that go up really fast. And I do believe we'll all come around again, because people are still using Aave. People are still using Compound. And like, these are some of the primitive base protocols that you need on any chain. Look at Hyperliquid, leverage trading, but
they're huge.
Like, you shouldn't do it necessarily, but it is one of the biggest use cases. Like, people love to trade in crypto. And that's why Hyperliquid was actually a more recent success, even though it's an L2. It was successful because people still want to leverage trade. They want to do it in the DeFi way, well, quasi DeFi, kind of fake, I guess, on an L2. But yeah, that's an example of utility actually being useful. What can you say about the market hating on utility for the moment?
I agree with you in that there will be a utility season. I think we're starting to see the beginning of the end of meme season. Not that some of the memes won't still hold strong, but I don't think they'll just be this wholesale. The entire market is only interested in memes forever concept that we've been hearing lately. There's been some terrible things and interesting things that have happened with memes recently that I think are going to start pushing people towards DeFi products that actually do stuff where you can earn with your money. We have Trump's company, Liberty Financial, I believe, that is supposedly launching a fork of Aave on Ethereum. We have more people that are going to get into crypto, because we have in the States, you have like the crypto president right now, and he may have launched a meme coin, but when my generation and older people start coming into the market, they're not going to be innately drawn to meme coins, right? And they're going to be looking for duplications of what their bank does, but better. And we have that in crypto, right? We have that in our utility protocols, like Ink Printer. Like it's gonna very much be your own bank, zero interest loan protocol. Like that's one of the functions. And we have like all those protocols on the PulseChain for borrowing. With we have fiat, we have Fame, we have things for leverage, like all the traditional things that you would find in the fiat market, like the real world markets, you could find in crypto on the PulseChain. So, when that season comes, I can't say, but I don't think people are going to be here for the dog pictures forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of incredible. We have zero interest loans for the everyday person. And the only thing between adoption is just understanding and education. That's it. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if.
Yep.
And, we can see that the market is stagnant, that there's not a whole lot of new people coming in, right? Because even the hardcore DeFi guys, everyone's just bored. So they're selling each other JPEG coins because there's no new money coming in. There's no new adoption of like, oh, hey, check out this cool new thing. Like right now, retail does not care. And you could say, oh, like I got my buddy in, or I onboarded 7 people. It's like, okay, yeah, but like, and we all do a great job of onboarding a couple people probably every day. But you're just kind of bringing new seats to the poker table for now without the giant floodgates going down, and like everyday people in the macro landscape, like feeling that they have money to spend. Right now, nobody feels like they got extra money laying around. Everyone's
we need that euphoria period for like the mass adoption, right? And we've had it in previous years. Like I know, because I came in during a euphoria period when I got into crypto. And
so most people come in, right?
Exactly. So like that's going to happen. Hopefully it's not just a 2 or 3 month period of time, but even if it is a 2 or 3 month period of time, like we'll likely see a lot of adoption. And I don't feel the next bear market is going to be like this one. I think it's going to be much more moderate. We won't see Bitcoin's not going to be 12K ever again, in my opinion. I think it's gonna become a tighter and tighter range between bear and bull market, much more like the stock market is over time. In fact, I think the stock market's probably going to migrate to crypto more or less. The writing's starting to be on the wall for that.
Well, that very reason is the merger of CeFi and DeFi is the reason that all the volatility is being squeezed out of the whole ecosystem. The volatility is actually the good part for you, or for everybody. It's actually, I know it sucks when volatility is in the red direction, but when it's in the green direction, it's really, really fun. And that's why crypto can still make you rich. But the more stable coins get pushed into the whole gig, and the more people can, naked short and just borrow Fed, funny money to go manipulate the markets in ETF land, they're basically unofficially kind of squeezing out all the volatility, all the true free market capitalism that we've been benefiting from. So I agree. Yeah, it's great. Maybe that Ethereum and Bitcoin, maybe they only drop 50% or 40% next time, and that'll still freak people out. But it also means they're never going to do like that 10x or higher ever again.
Yeah, both sides are true. Yeah, like you probably won't see as much of a downside. You probably won't see the 85% dips as much, but like you're also not going to see the 100x's nearly as much. And maybe not, this cycle could be the last one where we really have potential for huge gains, like life-changing gains. Whereas in the future, it could just be an extension of the stock market, and you'll see stock market level gains like, yay, I made 20%. Which 20% APR in banker world, like if you can achieve that, you're some sort of banker god, right? But in crypto, like I laugh at your 20% APRs. Hold my beer, I'll show you some real APRs.
That's kid stuff.
Indeed,
that's not a man's APR.
That's right. Man's APR should be triple digits at least.
I mean, the farms have dried up, but I know the yields on 2FUCs are pretty good still double digits. Where else have you seen anything good?
Triple. There's 9inch also has some decent yields on some of the farms. We're kind of in a transition time because nobody knew that Richard was going to reduce the inflation on the ink farms. So, probably you'll see some of these other protocols like 2FUCs and 9inch included juggling around to pick up some of the slack, right? So right now you're seeing, you can find like 100% plus APRs on 2FUCs, and I think some 60% plus on 9inch, but it's more exotic pairs, right? We'll see more pairs with hex and things like that on these platforms to pick up the slack for PulseX. There's going to be there'll be additional options for sure, and once the price starts going up on in the market and people are less worried about about the prices, we'll start to see some higher APRs on stablecoin only pairs as well.
That'd be nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait till more money comes back in. We're all in the same boat. You're building through the market, so congrats to everybody building.
Yeah, you really have to suck it up and just keep going. And that's been the journey for a lot of the PulseChain, is like just keep building. But without all the protocols built on the PulseChain, like I don't think it would be a very interesting place. If you could just stake your hex there and nothing else, like, sorry guys, I don't think we would have market adoption coming for that.
Different narratives are good for different people, of course. I also think that there's that classic concern where, now we've got too many coins to choose from. It dilutes the buying power. What do you think about that counter argument?
I think, like, in regards to like Richard Heart tokens, like, you ended up with 2 hexes, right? Like, but like it's the attention of the market is what you need. You already have the attention of like other hexagons. And when you start to add on these extra toys like, PulseX, and obviously the ink token as a reward token at the time, maybe not anymore, we'll see. It's bringing in different people. And then things like pump.tires, like that's a completely different audience. Like clearly Richard did not design that for the hardcore long-term hexagons. Like, it's not the thing that he told you to do. It's clearly terrible, and I'm sure he understands that. But there's a whole market segment that we're ignoring otherwise, and we want people to come and use the chain. Everything's connected by liquidity. Hart's law. We want the price of Pulse to go up because that'll bring up the price of Hex and vice versa. So having something like Pump.Tires that's burning Pulse, that's, you know, bringing new users to the chain, right? Like, and incentivizing people to just come over and try something new. Like, I might not be a big fan of it, but
yeah, I mean, if meme coins are your gateway drug, like the way I've been seeing it is, you know, a lot of the money comes in, it lands in a meme coin, but then it has a harder time going back out for dollars. So as long as it sucks in more liquidity than it brings out, then people extract. The only thing that matters for the price is extraction in USD, and that's it. And that's literally it. So if you're buying a meme coin, you still had to buy Pulse to get there. And if and when Hex does pump in the future, I will probably see a huge rotation out of a lot of these crappy coins with very low conviction. But there are a lot of meme coins out there with high conviction communities, like, I don't know, PDI or Bear or whatever, that probably are going to continue on because they've achieved a critical mass of attention. And that's all these things are.
Yeah, attention, liquidity, right? Like, it's, you know, things that it would be very hard for them to go to zero, even at the bottom of the bear market. They will likely continue on. But I think we're going to see a rotation out of some of these meme coins where people take profit. Like, so hopefully some of them are very successful. I hope the meme coin communities, and I, of course, hold a couple meme coins. Like, I hope they get their 10Xs, their 100Xs, but then what are they going to do with that when they rotate, right? Like, are they just going to rotate into USDC and bridge out to Ethereum? Or are they going to be like, okay, I have some money now. Is there some utility that I can use to make more money, right? And that's where things like stablecoin protocols that have like built-in farming apparatuses and liquidity farming, where they can, you know, farm things that are safer than meme coins, are probably going to be on the table, right? Like, everybody gets their start somewhere in crypto, and if you started with a meme coin, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to only have meme coins in your wallet forever. I hope you'd have some stable coins in your wallet at some point in time.
Well, speaking from experience, it's extremely hard to take profit. I mean, everybody I know that's ran a coin up 100x, it really is a drug. Then they're looking for the next one. It's hard to tell someone to take profit. Yes, I've taken profit in the past, but you know, it is psychologically difficult to do. So yes, the more of these charts we have, the better, guys. I mean, keep making these 100x, 1000x charts, because we need to brag about them. They're the best possible advertising, and congrats to everyone that's made, you know, a very small set of these 1000x plus coins, but congrats to all those people. And it could be you next, right? If you have what it takes, if you do whatever, the right juju, pray to the sun god, and maybe if you're lucky, you know, the Daddy Richard will smile upon you. But what was I going to say? Yeah, let's say you have like 600K, right? Let's say you made $600,000 from a meme coin.
Okay.
And you don't even have to sell that for dollars and bridge out. What you could do is buy a bunch of INC, take out a very lowly collateralized loan, print yourself a bunch of stable coins on chain that are backed by an on-chain asset, so less counterparty risk, right? And you can just park those stable coins on the chain and earn yield on them. So that's also just money insulating the ecosystem, staying on the chain.
Yep.
And being not extracted, but being derived from, you know, your take profit coin, whether it's PLS or PulseX or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And you wouldn't even have to necessarily buy ink. Like, you could even skip that process. You could buy right into the INCD token, which is the stable coin, that ink dollar. You know, you could take your USDC and buy INCD, and then there's single-sided staking within the protocol. So no impermanent loss option. Right on day one, that'll be there. And then you can earn ink as well as the print token, which is native token of the protocol, which can again be staked to earn more ink. So there's you know, decent options with low or no impermanent loss. And from day one, running for the first 365 days, we're going to have a farm for the stablecoin. And unlike the other protocols that set themselves up against Pulse or Hex or PulseX for their farming, we're going to do the ink dollar against DAI from Ethereum. So it'll be a no impermanent loss pair. It'll be on PulseX V2, so you're earning fees on stablecoins, which is never bad. And then it's incentivized with the print token as bonus yield for an entire year. So it should be. I feel like that's probably going to be a lucrative option. Farming stable to stable pairs is as close as you get to single-sided staking, with the exception of the single-sided staking that we do have for stablecoins in the protocol. And there's no lock on that. It's not, you know, there's no 15-year commitment. You can withdraw at any time.
Yeah, I think you guys could use a new pool that I noticed there's a couple good ones for stablecoin farming, but there's no pool right now that has all of the four native stablecoins together, right?
Yep. Yeah. And I can't say for sure such a pool could exist, but I know a guy. I think we could probably get something going. I'd like to see a pair that had um, all the liquidity forks paired together. And since they're all using Richard Hart tokens as liquidity, and we're completing the set with the fourth one, I think it'd be cool to have those in a pair together that was farmable. Because then there's strategies you could do where you're leveraging your position on Hex, PulseX, Ink, and Pulse, right? Into a safe stablecoin collateral positions, and then farming those stablecoins against each other for other farming tokens. Like that could be a big win. But and the concept of having more liquidity is really important for stablecoins, and that's a big part of the strategy that we're doing with Ink Printer. Is we want there to be a ton of liquidity, especially very early on for the protocol, because when you sell a stablecoin on PulseChain, like it's still like we like to think of it as a stablecoin, it's $1, but it's still just a token. It's an ERC20 token, and the price can dip. There can be slippage, right? So more liquidity is better. It allows more people to buy into the stablecoin without pushing it up to $1.50, and more people to sell the stablecoin, which is one of the things you're supposed to do with a stablecoin is sell it for other stablecoins ideally, and be able to bridge that off chain to your bank account if you want to, right? Mm-hmm. So having big liquidity for these is important, and if it can be liquidity with other PulseChain native stablecoins with zero bridge risk, I think that's a win.
Yeah, CST is kind of this piece of the puzzle there, because you can off ramp to your bank account with our very own central stablecoins. Now we've got 4 decentralized and 1 centralized stablecoin on chain, no bridge risk, no counterparty risk. Yeah. Well, you could say, oh, what if Coast fucks us over? But I mean, come on, like compared to Tether or Circle, I'd give that a much lower probability.
Seems unlikely. Yeah. Tether or Circle never seems to take my calls, whereas those guys are helping
me either. That's funny. It's like they got better things to do or something.
Yeah. What the hell, guys? Come on.
I've reached out to them so many times, man. Like, it's hard. It's hard being the underdog here because we don't have these VC connections, and they don't want to. If you're not making multi-million-dollar deals with them, like they often aren't just going to list you unless we become so big and loud that we're impossible to ignore.
It would be a multi-million-dollar deal if they just did it, right? Like,
they would start making
bank, right?
But, yeah, I don't think a lot of like bridge protocols or stablecoin protocols realize how big of an opportunity it is for them to just list PulseChain. I mean, the amount of random like software that we've made popular just because they're friendly to us.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Like it's because it's so few, right? We celebrate everybody that chooses to build on PulseChain or to add PulseChain integration because we're just so used to getting, spat on.
Totally. But like the credit should go where it deserves. Like the Hex community basically like made Uniswap cool. And then like that was one of the biggest use groups for Uniswap was the Hex community running huge amounts of liquidity through there. And then they delisted it from Uniswap or hit it or whatever, which was super lame. So I think once this court case clears up, I think that the numbers are going to start to change. We're certainly loud enough, but we need focus. And if RH comes back, we're going to have focus, and we're going to be an army. We'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, I'm sure we're owed an apology by a lot of these people, especially after it's proven that this Richard guy wasn't actually a scammer the whole time. But even if there's no apologies, I'll just take integrations. If you want to just come back and list us on your exchange that delisted us, or list us on your DEX that manually took us off, like I'll take that as an apology too.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, all is forgiven. Let's do business. But this time you have to, if you want the tokens on your DEX, you can come and buy them, right? I think that should.
I guess that's what they probably don't like about this whole situation. Is it's very textbook part of the playbook for them to get insider allocations of tokens to dump.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. That's part of their plan. But like the fees that eventually it'll get big enough that the fees that they're losing by not having it will just force them to have it, in my opinion. Because that's how they're making a lot of their money on the day-to-day. Like they are charging swap fees to their users, fees for coming on and off, right? And if they're missing a whole segment of the market, like, the Pulse chain is starting to rank up on the listings of different chains. PulseX for a DEX is like one of the best DEXs for volume. These guys are literally missing out. And once we have more stable coins coming and going from Pulse chain, I think they're going to really notice, and they're going to want to have want to have a piece of that. So yeah, more the merrier. Let's just keep building, and eventually they will come.
Yeah, they only call you delusional before you actually win, and they say, "Oh, it was obvious the whole time." I was always a supporter of Pulse Chain. What do you mean? It's really people don't want to be with you when you're down. They don't want to be associated. But once you're winning, everybody wants to come out of the woodwork and pretend. I do believe we're the underdog here. It sounds crazy to a lot of people.
Yep.
That's why
we're definitely the underdog. But it's like the math of it is not that bad, right? Like the amount of money that it would take to pump the Pulse chain to being on the top of the charts is relatively low compared to what it would take to get Ethereum back to $4,000, right? Like
that's what people don't understand is that 1/10 of the sacrifice fund coming in, even at these all-time, this low point of Ethereum, 1/10 of the treasury funds would send Hex past $1. If it all went into Hex, like, if $30 million went into Hex only, I think we'd be at like $1.20.
Yeah, and that's life-changing money. And obviously, other things would get pulled up and so on and so forth. But like, yeah, the math is great, and the math is getting better the more that people pull their liquidity from the PulseX farms, which I believe is totally the message that Richard is sending us. He can't tell you pull your liquidity, right? Like I want you to pull your liquidity. That would be financial advice. But he has shown us in a way of reducing the inflation. And lately it's been going from it was 0.05 inflation on eggs, 0.04, 0.03 it's at now. If it goes to 2 and then 1, then he's probably trying to tell you something, right? And I think that's what we're going to see. The message is pull your liquidity, and the reason is probably so that it's easy to pump the price. If there was half the liquidity there was right now, and there's less than there was, a month ago, it becomes twice as easy to pump the price. So that could be a benefit.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I've been saying that on repeat. Look, you either see it or you don't. You either take the bet or you don't. But everyone that's still here we're super battle hardened at this point. I don't think there's a whole lot of non-believers left. And I kind of almost feel bad for the people, because you can see a couple of people capitulating. A couple of the rolling Hex stakers or yield farmers have capitulated.
Yep.
I guess the real question is, some people are pretty bearish on the amount of time that it's going to take to keep capitulating these guys. And so, I, on the other hand, think that with all these case dismissals, any day now, they could come rushing back with positive news. But you also need the right timing in the Ethereum market too. You can't if Richard Hart won the case today, it still probably wouldn't be wise to start pumping the bags, right? Because
there's degrees of belief that I think he'd be looking for. Like in the recent downturn on Bitcoin, obviously it had some effect on the prices on the Pulse chain, but not as much of it as it should have, right? We're kind of in we're kind of just another day over here when Bitcoin's at 84K all of a sudden. So I think, if Richard was considering when should I do this, the time when we stopped reacting with the market, that might be the right time, right? You have to have the belief and ideally euphoria enough that these people are going to hold even when the price goes up. So I'm not saying that's for sure the case, but it would be one of the things I would look for if I happen to be a friendly billionaire.
I mean, I've been observing the same thing. Ethereum down 30-40%, Bitcoin down 20 to 30%. Pulse is 14% above its all-time low still. Pulse is going sideways. PulseX is still up, 3x from its all-time low. Inc is still up 4x from its all-time low. Even little old Hex is still up 3x from its all-time low. You think we can ever bleed back down to those levels? Because I think what you're saying is at this point, it's Bitcoin's becoming annihilated, but Pulse Chain's not moving.
Exactly. There's still a lot of people
the major concern is that there's these whales that are mysterious and silent that still haven't gotten shaken out, right?
Well, those could be good whales though, right? If they haven't gotten shaken out yet, you know, what makes me think that they're going to get shaken out at the next 2x, at the next 3x, right? And obviously, like, everybody wants to take profit at some point, but like, you know, if they're here for the long haul, they ride it all the way down. Like, there's a good chance they're going to ride it all the way back up, especially when we have things like capitulation in the general market with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, obviously, there's a buying opportunity on Ethereum right now, and we're not seeing people selling their Pulse to go capitalize on that buying opportunity. So like, it's belief, right? They believe in the system. They believe there's something better over here. And they believe that, you know, Richard Hart is going to, you know, keep doing his thing, and this will be a win long-term. So I feel pretty good about the last couple days, actually, since Bitcoin started crashing. Like, on the first day, I was like, okay, this is stressful. Then it's like, okay, actually my bags, which are mostly PulseChain, still look pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
I mean, did we close that CME gap? Did we tap 79K on Bitcoin?
I think we did.
So yeah, I mean, look, no one's ever going to call the bottom right. Catching a falling knife is hard.
Yeah.
But Ethereum, what did it tap? $2,000?
It's at $2,200 today. That sounds likely.
Of course, I'd rather believe that this is the bottom. Obviously, you're always going to find the counterpoint as well of people saying, "Oh, there's more doom. We're going much, much lower." But there's a lot of people trying to call for the top of the bull. I've even just got a text like from a more of a noob in crypto. You know, hey buddy, my friend said crypto is over. You know, my friend said the bull market's over, and I'm like, okay, who is this guy? And he's like, well, he's a YouTuber. And I look him up, and he's like a day trading YouTuber. Okay. I'm like, well, you know, beware of the lens that a lot of these people are looking through. The trader mentality will always be planning for multiple scenarios in their head. Because they can make money shorting, longing, and chances are they're not even making money. They're making money selling you bots and indicators and courses. But the trader mentality is kind of fickle. It's low conviction, right? Because if you're a trader, you're not an investor. You're not a long-term holder. So your conviction is low by default.
That volatility is their friend, right? So it's they want the number to go up or down frequently, right? Like that's where they make their funds, right? On like a day-to-day basis or minute-to-minute basis, right?
Yeah.
It's a totally different game.
And so you've got that category of people, and you've also got like the just dopamine frying, like clickbait influencer category that just, oh, there's fear in the market. Okay, let's inject more fear. Or, oh, there's euphoria. Let's inject more euphoria just for the clicks. Like, they almost don't even care. Like, oh, the daily news, like, I don't know, like Crypto Rand comes to mind, right? Like, we're all doomed. And it's like, you listen to him, he's not really actually saying that at all.
Yeah.
But
I did enough with the fear porn, though. Especially within the PulseChain community. Like, I'm just about done with influencers who are living off the fear porn. Like, this is not the win. There are other ways.
Yeah. I mean, there's more. You could just also like touch grass, I suppose. That's always an option as well.
Yeah. Why not?
But yeah, I mean, being here for what, about 10 years now in the crypto markets, I feel pretty numb, pretty unfazed. Still got my conviction. Nothing has changed. In my opinion, bull market's not over at all. Right? Opportunity of a lifetime is staring you right in the face. It took a couple years too long. That we obviously wish it happened, you know, earlier. But when you dress up in a Gucci tracksuit, it gets the wrong attention. And oops. But when you know Richard Hart, you know, like, he's not just giving up, right? Like, he's not running away.
He wants the glory. He's going to get the glory one way or another, I suspect.
Even if he has to give it to himself.
Yep. And I believe he has the tools to do that, right?
Yeah,
he could literally manufacture the glory very quickly.
Right. Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to try to help the cause and help other people feel the optimism that I really do feel. I'm not just putting on a show here. It's like, I would have left by now, you know? And then there's nothing keeping you. There's nobody forcing you to stay here. But I look around and I see a lot of like humorous takes. I see a lot of kind of like laughing at the, you know, at how fucked we are kind of thing. And that's almost like, okay, these are the guys now. These are the Spartans.
Indeed. Yeah. The remaining ones, they will stand strong. I don't know. When I look at stuff like my day-to-day, like with the building and things, like, that's money out of pocket. Like, I certainly wouldn't be doing something like launching ink printer if I didn't believe in, you know, the entire PulseChain ecosystem, and certainly in the RH token that we're using for collateral, right? Like it's like, it's cash up front to the devs. They don't, they don't work on commission. And devs are expensive this time of year. Like when it's the bull market, devs are in demand. So I'm pretty happy with how things are working out. I think we are going to see the next leg of the market. Maybe we touch 80K again on Bitcoin, and then it'll be off to the races. And whatever happens with Ethereum, I don't think it's 100% necessary that we see the 15K Ethereum for the PulseChain to do well. Like we could, we could do well all on our own.
That is true. That is true. Are you telling me the devs are just invested in the actual project? They're not actually getting paid unless the project succeeds?
No, absolutely not. The devs demand to be paid no matter what. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't hire good devs and say, I'll pay you later. You're paying like $100 an hour. You'll get a good dev. If they're a specialist in the thing you're looking at, and you'll need several of them for a project like this, and they're getting paid up front in a salary format, right? That's how most of these utility protocols, there's been a lot of money that goes into them before they're released, because
that makes more sense.
Real devs don't want tokens, right? Real devs want cash on the dash all the time.
Unless you're the actual founder. Founders usually want tokens because they believe more than everyone else.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But when I say dev, I mean the guys in the back who are doing the real work, who are doing the actual coding, right? There's a lot of bandying about of the term dev, and people launch a meme coin and they say they're the dev. Well, kind of. But when I think of dev, I think of hardcore guys, mostly with the touch of autism, who are probably not going to be on the screen talking about anything, right? There's a couple notable exceptions in the PulseChain community where you actually are talking to the dev. But typically, if the dev sounds anything like me, he's not a really real dev, or at least not the dev. He might be a dev. Those guys are very focused on very specific tasks, and they're not there to talk about it, and they expect to be paid for their work. Those are the guys you want. You want the professionals.
Yeah. Or there's the meme coin dev who just pushes buttons on Pump Fun, right?
Indeed. Yeah, we could all do that, but I think maybe misuse of term dev. They could say they're founders. That would be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting that you picked INC. It was a coin that I never expected to really be such a collateral coin for anything, but with the signaling, with the lower inflation rate, who knows? I think could shoot up a whole bunch.
Yeah, and if the price does start to go up on the Ink token, I want to have a way to leverage that and have more ink tied to my wallet, right? So this could be.
It is the second most pumpable after Hex. I think I looked at liquidity. Can you believe there's only $3 million of Hex liquidity right now, buy side?
Totally.
In Pulse.
100%
and it's in Pulse, right? So you need to push Pulse up to buy it. I think there was 4 million of Pulse locked to Ink.
So Pulse and PulseX, those are the two main liquidity pools for Ink.
Yeah.
So overall, they're basically interchangeable as far as what they do. Let's see, liquidity on Ink to Pulse, 7.6 million. There's a decent amount of liquidity there. Ink to PulseX, 12.7 million. So there is sufficient liquidity on Ink.
Yeah.
To be a collateral token, in my opinion. It's probably literally apart from PulseX and Pulse, it could be the third best token to be suitable for a liquidity fork right now, after the inflation is reduced here. Because there is, having decent liquidity on the collateral token is an important part of the equation. Not that it has to be $10 million plus. It just doesn't hurt that it's $10 million plus.
Yeah. Interesting game that we're playing, huh? It's it's just very easy for this all to work out. And I think prices being low are very, very much testing people's faith. If you just be RH for a second and you can't talk, your hands are tied by the legal team. Everyone's talking smack about you as the price goes down, because that's just how people are. You don't want to make those people rich, but you can simultaneously also know, I have my finger on the button to launch this thing. I could do it whenever I almost want to.
Yep.
But why not get all these assholes who are doubting me and shit talking me. We need to shake these guys out first. So and also, of course, the timing. You want the timing with the case dismissal to be hopefully timed with a nice ETH pump. And then, I mean, all the infrastructure is here. The community's here. All the builders are here. All of our megaphones, all of our YouTube channels have been set up, and just everything's in the right place. It doesn't worry me too much. Other than, I'm always looking for new yield opportunities, but that's about it.
Do I have a deal for you?
I need to go check out 2fucks again because I was in a couple of pools that I pulled out of to go into ink farms, and now I'll probably go back into 2fucks.
Yeah, well, I think there's definitely some viable options there. There's even some viable options with the ink token. I have one pool with Hex and Maximus DAO tokens that's paying 100% APR. So just Hex and Maximus DAO tokens, like the various, like Lucky, Desi, etc. So there's definitely some great options there. We'll probably have more options for the ink dollar once that becomes a thing, as well as the print token. But when the ink printer launches, you'll likely have a pretty good yield farming opportunity where you can basically use your ink and then turn it into that stablecoin, stake it there, and then you'll be getting yield directly from that, as well as the yield farm opportunities between the print token and ink will be one of the farms, and then the ink dollar to DAI will be one of the farms. So I think during the first 45 days in particular, and there's a reason I'm saying that number, we're going to see a huge bang in adoption for the ink printer and the ink dollar, because of the yield opportunities will be huge. I think it'll be probably more ink will be given out by the ink printer will be given out by the PulseX farms over the same period of time.
Interesting. I want to see how this works. I want to read about it. Let's talk. What are the links? What links do we go to?
So I have the here. I'll just do you want me to share my screen here?
Go ahead. Yeah, but let's also just tell people what link to go to.
Okay. So I have the test.inkprinter.com is the test net. Let's set up now. I gotta find it.
So there's no sacrifice.
There's no sacrifice. We're doing it without $55 million. We're just going to send it. So, not that I think there's anything wrong with the sacrifice concept, but it reduces, there's much less sell pressure on the ink dollar or on the print token than there would have been on something that had a large sacrifice attached to it, right? Because anybody who buys it bought it because they wanted to. Anybody participating with the protocol will be doing it, free of choice, not because they had a financial commitment of any type. And in fact, with the underlying collateral of ink, most people who have ink in their wallets effectively received it for free, right? Like nobody sacrificed for ink, right? Most people received it from farming other tokens that they may have sacrificed for. So it doesn't sort of have the same place in people's hearts. They're not, I feel like they're less likely to worry as much about some of the details, and they're more likely to participate with something like this, with something they receive for free, right?
Mm-hmm. I see your screen here, but it's not connected.
Is it asking for a code or?
No, it just says device not connected.
Oh, you have to connect a device for it to pop up with the testnet. That is probably
okay.
What I'm saying.
Well, I mean, we can just have people go to inkprinter.com.
Yeah, test.inkprinter.com will be where the testnet's at.
Here's what it looks like, everybody.
Bang.
Looks very similar to other things that I've seen.
Yep. So very similar to Earn or Flex in particular, except for there's more things on this front page. So there's less places you have to go. Just about everything's right here. We're looking at just simplifying it a bit. The farming, everything. You can click in and add your LP to PulseX here. You can add the stable coin. You can reduce and increase your collateral right on the front end.
Cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to use something that people would feel familiar with, right? Like there's no there's no real advantage to redesigning the wheel. And you know, since this is unfunded, like I'm not going to make a grandiose new fancy flashy website. So this is it's very utilitarian, and maybe I'll make some sort of splash page for it in the future. But mostly when people come here, they're just going to get to the app. There's a link to the white paper, and then they can come right in here and do all the get right to the places they need to be. Then, of course, we have a link to the Telegram room where people will be able to, actually ask questions. And somebody will probably actually answer your questions, which I think is really important with a protocol like this.
Yeah, awesome. And I see you've got yield farming, you got this staking rewards. And let me scroll to the very bottom for me.
Sure.
What is all that stuff? MetaMask features? Oh, you can just add the coins to your wallet. Okay.
Yeah, and this will work for Ravi or MetaMask. It's to add the token to your wallet. Ravi should pick them up right away anyway, which is Ravi or Internet Money Wallet being my preferences for use with Ink Printer, but it will also work with MetaMask.
Cool. Well, yeah, simple is good. Straight to the point. No fluff.
Yeah. Links to buy on Pitius, and then links to add LP on PulseX. Right? So for the two farms in question.
Yeah.
So pretty straightforward. And I'll double check the links and make sure, where the community can also double check the links, make sure they actually take you to the right place. But I'm confident that we've put in the correct links. So, and then people stake their print token that you could potentially get for free by staking the stablecoin right here. And then, of course, that they can add it to this one's the LP pair with ink. So print to ink, and then they get more print, and they also get the compounding fees, right? Because it's PulseX V2, not V1, right? So you're getting compounding plus bonus print rewards. So, and then with the ink to die pair, ink dollar rather to die pair, then you get compounding of stablecoins, and then again rewards and print tokens. And the amount of the print tokens that go to these farms is a lot, and it's for a whole year, like 365 days. These will be incentivized pairs via this front end. There could be other farms other places, but these ones will be here right away. And from what I've seen on the other protocols using the same concept, these should pay very, very well in the early days. And of course, the token that you're receiving as the bonus reward has immediate utility in that you can single side stake it within the protocol, and it will pay you in ink and ink dollars. So thus the ink printer. It'll generate.
So that's good. I really like that you're incentivizing a die pair. I haven't seen that on Flex or Earn.
No, they didn't do that. I decided it was more important rather than try to have it connected to a volatile asset, because they used all the protocols collateral token to pair the LP with, right, for the stablecoin. But I want the ink dollar paired against as many stable coins as possible, as soon as possible. And I want that to continue to grow indefinitely. Because when you go to sell out of a stable coin, most likely you're selling into another stable coin that can be bridged out so that you can so you can eventually convert it into fiat currency. So I want people to have a very strong backing. And with that in mind, we're really going to push the farming options for this against other stable coins, because that'll be the win when you have $10 million with liquidity on the ink dollar against DAI from Ethereum, and you need to sell 400 grand. You can just do it, which is not something we've seen yet on PulseChain. In fact, even we need more liquidity of all types for stable coins. There'll be slippage even on USDC if you're trying to sell $10 million of USDC into DAI on PulseChain. It doesn't look really good. So more is better. And for ink printer, we definitely want connections to the other native stable coins, but also to some bridged assets where you can bridge out and redeem it somewhere else, or send it to your bank account somewhere else, because of course everybody wants to do that at some point.
Right. Until everything's priced in crypto one day. But yeah, I'll probably be joining that ink dollar DAI pool. I'll probably take out an ink loan and pair it with some DAI.
Yep.
When does this launch?
Well, we're doing the PulseChain PLS 369 conference in Vegas next week. And then probably shortly after that, we'll make an announcement of the date. I'll be getting the audits back today or tomorrow. And then once everything is set to go, I'm going to give a full 7 days notice to the community. It's not this is not a stealth launch. It's not a meme coin, a utility protocol. I want everybody to know about it. I want everybody to prepare and read and watch the videos before they participate. So yeah, it won't be a surprise. I'll make a big announcement as much as I can, but likely, like, we're looking, maybe 10 days,
Wow.
Something like that, right? Like, as soon as we get back from Vegas, I'll probably be ready to make the announcement, and 7 days after that, we can probably have the launch date and time, and it will just be, publicly available information. No insiders. Everybody can participate at the same time, because there is an incentive to be in early with these protocols.
Yeah,
do you remember?
I'll definitely be using it. I'll be farming. I'll be taking out a loan, probably. Obviously, super over collateralized. So yeah, 10 days, guys. Inkprinter.com. Check it out. Thanks for building this. We're coming up at an hour. Do you want to finish with any thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one little extra thing that we're doing. It's actually the only piece of code that we've changed from the other liquidity forks on PulseChain. As far as so we're going with the $500 vault. We're going the same as on with Earn and Flex. It's a $50 liquidation deposit, the same as on Earn or Flex. The only other thing that's different is on the other liquidity forks, there was 14 days without redemption, where you can trade a stablecoin for $1 worth of ink. We're extending that to 45 days to give people confidence they won't be redeemed against for the first month and a half, and to allow the protocol to get a bootstrap phase that will bump up that liquidity into the millions, so that we have a stronger stable coin long term.
That sounds smart.
I think it'll work.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you. Thank you for building. Thanks for being one of the soldiers, just keeping a nice, good level head, and hopefully everybody else can hang in there. We're all going to make it, guys. It's going to be okay. Just don't check the price. It can't hurt you if you don't look at it. So
yeah, touch grass.
Yeah, touch grass, run away, turn off the computer if you have to. I think in a couple of weeks, things will look a lot differently. So like, subscribe, share the video, inkprinter.com. See you on the next one.
Thank you.